and a Secret Service agent, this man's life has been dedicated to service. So when he got the call from President Trump and Kash Patel, he acted not on what would be easiest, the most convenient, the most lucrative, but what would be the best for this country, because he loves this country. This is a man who would die for this country if he had to. That was literally his job, to take a bullet for the president. And he was willing to do that for Obama, of all people. If you're a listener of this show, you know Dan Bongino was not the greatest fan of Obama, but he was willing to take a bullet for that man because his life has been dedicated to service and to sacrifice. And is anyone surprised that he'd make this sacrifice now? This is Dan's view on life in a nutshell. This is where he comes from with everything. Take a listen.
Like, what is your program for staying happy?
You know, I'm not a happy guy. No, I'm not. I love my wife a lot. I talk about her all the time in the show. She's become kind of a semi-celebrity just for my show and her like crazy date night stories. But you know, you ever read the book, The Natural? Not the movie. The movie's good, but the book, the Malamud book. And there's a line where Roy Hobbs' girlfriend says to Roy, you know, that we all live two lives, the one we learn from and the one we live after that. And that's a great line, but it's the second part she says that really matters. She says, the real path to happiness is through suffering. And she's right. Now, there's a lot of like biochemical reasons beyond the scope of this conversation that I won't bore you with about dopamine and all this other crap. But God gave you a really intricate happiness reward system. But the only way to access it so that it feels good, that really feels good, that it's deep, not liberal happiness, coke, blow, crack, drinking, heroin, whatever. I'm talking about true happiness where you feel you can die one day satisfied. Make no mistake and listen to what I'm telling you. This is the best advice you're ever going to get, not because it came from me, because someone gave it to me and it was genius. It's only through suffering. So people ask me, like, I joke about this cold plunge thing I have, which sucks in the morning, like nothing you've ever seen. You ever jump in 40-degree water at 6 in the morning, every morning, and just sit there and freeze? You know why I do it? Anyone have any idea? Because it sucks. That's why. That's why I do it, because it sucks. No, I'm serious. Yeah, there's cold shock proteins and all this stuff. Your brain is intricately wired by the intelligent creator to have to earn every ounce of happiness. My wife and I have a date night on Friday night. That's the one night a week me and her let loose. And you know what? I earn that. I'm up every morning, working out, jumping in a damn cold plunge. I'm 50 years old, I'm falling apart. I'm sitting there squatting, deadlifting, sweating. I'm done with my show. I'm up from 6. I bang out work from 10 to 3 p.m., right back to show prep the next day, right in the sauna. My wife comes, she doesn't do the cold plunge, she hates it. She only does something. She'll do this. I sit in 190 degrees for 30 minutes. Why do I sit in it? Because it sucks. That's why.
This is gonna suck. This is gonna be hard. But anything worth doing is hard. The reward requires work. It is going to suck, but suffering, and this suffering in particular, is not for nothing. You know, when I started out this podcast, I didn't know anything about podcasting. It's really kind of weird just to talk to I'm talking to all of you, but really in reality, I'm talking to a camera, and it's odd to get used to. And Dan is the master of it all. And I had no idea what I was doing. Dan had just seen a few of my Fox hits, and he said, you know, I think she's got some raw talent, and he took a chance on me. And Dan has had a million times more confidence in me than I have had in myself. But that encouragement, the risk-taking, the never-ending optimism, the work ethic that he modeled, that has made this show, I think, blossom and grow. And I'm so happy that all of you are here listening with me. I have learned so much about podcasting, but also about life from Dan. And I know that a lot of you are really disappointed to see him go for a time. Dan is a part of your routines. He's your news guy, but also he's kind of like your friend. Maybe he's your life coach. You probably have a kind of relationship with him, tuning in every day, listening, laughing, joking, but getting deep and serious too. He's been part of your lives. He's been part of my everyday life and Michael's everyday life. None of this is going to feel the same without Dan, but I hope that many of you will take a chance on Haley, on myself. This network isn't going anywhere. We're going to continue delivering excellent content for all of you. We're going to keep grinding. That's what the Bongino Network is all about. That's what this team does. And when Dan comes back, we'll be that much stronger. And it's not going to be forever. Think about it like a military deployment, right? He's going out. He's got to complete a mission. It's going to take some blood, sweat, and tears, but he's coming back home. This isn't forever. He's doing this for America, for our country, for all of us. The FBI is a fully corrupted organization. I mean, how often are Dan and I talking about this? It feels like every day, talking about how bad the FBI has become. This group has targeted half the country. I wouldn't be surprised if Dan himself was on a list. Dan's been one of the FBI's greatest critics, arguably the most prominent critic in the entire country, and now he's number 2 with the agency. So you better believe that radical change is coming. The political persecution is over, the weaponization done for. But not only that, the agency is going to finally start doing what it's supposed to do, which is rooting out the network of illegal migrant gangs operating across this country. Homicides, robberies, human trafficking, child sex abuse, investigating the Trump assassination attempts. We know nothing about them so far. Still, we know nothing. And what we do know, really sketchy, really concerning, makes you wonder. So the FBI is in charge of investigating those assassination attempts, and you better believe that Dan Bongino is going to get to the bottom of both of them. The FBI is going back to its mission. I'm 100% certain of this. I also asked Dan this question point blank when he announced it to all of us. I said that, because I had to hear it for myself, you guys. I know what the answer is, but I had to hear it for myself. I asked him, are you committed to radical disclosure? Dan is committed to transparency with the American people. He told me that. This is what Trump promised, and this is what Dan and Cash are going to deliver to us on all these issues. Epstein, 9/11, MLK, JFK, all of it. Could any of us have dreamed of a better team to take on the FBI? I mean, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, it couldn't be more perfect. So I know this is a really bittersweet moment for the Bongino army. I know it is for me and for Michael and for Guy and Justin. It's going to be difficult. It's really bittersweet, but this is also a time to celebrate. This is incredible news for America. The work, the suck, it has just begun, but I think the reward is going to be massive. Let's take a quick break. So many of us wake up in the morning thinking, I wish these bags under my eyes would just go away. Bags and puffiness under the eyes are a problem for millions of American men and women until now. Now you can help them disappear with Genucel Skincare's under eye bags and puffiness serum. It's safe and risky procedure free. Susan from New Jersey wrote, I've been using Genucel for a couple months. The puffiness around my eyes is gone. Even the crow's feet and small lines have disappeared and haven't come back. I love the product. I use it under my eyes, around my cheekbones, and on my eyelids. And it's not just Susan, it's my go-to product and how I stay camera ready for these early morning shows. With its immediate effects, you'll see results in the first 12 hours or your money back. I guarantee it. Order now. Save big on Genucel's complete skincare package for a limited time, including Genucel's for bags and puffiness treatment and immediate effects, all at about 70% off. Go to Genucel.com/news, Genucel.com/news. Order right now. Use my promo code NEWS, that's NEWS, for an extra 10% off plus free shipping. Go to Genucel.com/news, Genucel.com/news. I heard somebody just comment, his sacrifice is our sacrifice. And, I know that maybe that sounds a little bit dramatic, but I do think it's true. Dan Bongino is a part of our lives. He's a part of our daily routines. It's going to suck. It's going to be hard, but he's coming back. We just have to get through this, like I said, deployment. And it's going to be so much better and stronger here at this company, but also for America. I'm so optimistic about this change, and I'm really proud to call Dan a colleague, a boss, a friend. It's really inspiring. Let's get to some headlines. Who remembers the horrible earthquake in Haiti back in 2010? It was just devastating. If you read Clinton Cash, you'll recall the amount of corruption around the aid raised to allegedly help the Haitians. The New York Post just came out with an excellent piece about USAID and its NGO partners like the Red Cross and the way that they botched this entire relief effort. I think a lot of us knew, we had heard about it in the headlines, like the aid wasn't getting to the Haitians, but we weren't really putting the blame on USAID, USAID in the way that we are now, because we have so much more information. $4.4 billion was sent to Haiti after the earthquake, and less than 2% of that reached Haitians. 56% reportedly lined the pockets of DC firms. The Red Cross raised $500 million, and they built 6 houses. 6. And what happens is that the money from donations and our tax dollars, they pass through these layers of connected subcontracts as well as administrative overhead. So by the time the money reaches the people in need, there isn't much left. But then there's also corruption, and there's fraud, and all the opaqueness of USAID and its partners. It allows for that to thrive, allows for the corruption to happen. And there's been decades of USAID operating with virtually no oversight. They skim funds, they don't follow through. Do you guys remember when Michael Jackson put together that song with all the celebrities in the 80s? We are the world, we are the children. Let's play that, Michael. You go back and watch that video, at the very beginning, you'll see Michael Jackson. He's so unimpressed with Lionel Richie's vocal performance. You just look at him and you can see he's just like, watch the video, you'll see what I mean. But the point is that you have USAID, which was heavily involved in the Ethiopian famine relief efforts during the mid-1980s, which included the aid efforts tied to We Are the World and USA for Africa. And it was, like all foreign aid operations, completely marred by mismanagement, inefficiencies, political entanglements, corruption. It was a disaster. It was a failure. Same goes for when Justin Bieber and all those other celebrities decided to remake We Are the World for Haiti in 2010.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one.
Justin Bieber's very cute in that. He's cute, he's little, his voice is so sweet. Overall though, that video, that song, that remake was not as good as the 1985 version. I will say it was like all auto-tuned and bad, and I don't know, 2010's music, not as good as 1985. Either way though, 2010 and 1985, USAID and the entire government has gotten away with acting like all their foreign aid is Cyndi Lauper and Lionel Richie and Justin Bieber serenading us with We Are the World, and it feels good and we're helping people. That's what it's supposed to, it's supposed to feel that way. That's what it's been billed to us as. But USAID isn't about helping people, it's about statecraft. They've lied to us about their true intentions and goals. It's about influencing foreign governments. Really, I think it's about corruption and embezzlement and a lot of other things. USAID has a budget that is roughly triple the official size of the CIA. It's a left-wing slush fund. It was meant to combat communism during the Cold War, which, fine, that's an okay goal. But since then, it's become a vehicle for fraud and left-wing, frankly, demonic political activism. And those aren't American values. Those aren't American ideals. I'm cool with exporting American culture abroad, but it has to be authentic American culture. Transgender operas and atheism in Nepal are not American ideals and values. We are the children. No, we are financially responsible now. That's what we are. You know, a big reason we have trouble properly exporting culture is because the cultural movers and shakers, Hollywood, the music industry, fashion, has been overrun by cultural Marxists. Their priorities are poisonous. Here was actress, producer, writer, director, comedian Natasha Lyonne at the Spirit Awards over the weekend on what concerns her the most about the Trump admin.
Like when I think of the kids, or like the 12-year-old girl that can't get an abortion or something, or, you know, that's what really like rips me apart. But you know.
Really, Natasha? That's what rips you apart? The 12-year-old girl who can't get an abortion? Chat. How do 12-year-old girls get pregnant? How do they get pregnant? Abuse. Sexual abuse. And this is the liberal brain rot that is abortion activism. Abortion only re-victimizes abuse victims, especially if you're a 12-year-old girl. And why is it Natasha's main concern that a 12-year-old was sexually abused? And they're constantly preaching like this all the time at all of their award shows, at every single interview. They just can't stop with the Trump derangement. But it's not just Trump derangement. It almost feels like a contempt, and frankly, it is a contempt for the people who are supposed to be consuming the media that they're creating. A hatred of the way this country voted. And here's what I'll say about art and artists. They've lost their way. And it's been that way for a long time. This isn't a new phenomenon. This is not like, oh, really recently, art and artists have started to become really poisonous and bad at their jobs. Ever since Friedrich Nietzsche declared God is dead, the modern world has had no central, transcendent, moral, or existential anchor. We don't know why we're here. Life feels meaningless, and art, which is supposed to imbue meaning, suddenly became meaningless too. There was a time, probably in the early to mid 20th century, where art was articulating this existential despair, chaos, nihilism, as global totalitarianism materialized in the most horrifying ways. I'm talking 2 world wars, civilizational suicide of the West. But now we're not even trying to articulate the existential crisis we're in. Now you just have bananas duct taped to walls in art galleries and selling for millions of dollars. That's not art. That's not an existential crisis. You're not articulating anything about the culture that we're in. Nothing. That is art. By the way, if you're looking, I'm just showing some Renaissance paintings right now. That's art. Art right now is fragmented and confused without a philosophical framework to work off of. And instead of informing and guiding, it confuses. In the case of mainstream media, it's become straight up propaganda. Nothing is inspired. I'm talking movies, TV shows. Here's how you know they're transfixed on propaganda. This was Jane Fonda at the Screen Actors Guild Awards last night.
Make no mistake, empathy is not weak or woke. And by the way, woke just means you give a damn about other people. Have any of you ever watched a documentary of one of the great social movements, like apartheid or our civil rights movement or Stonewall,
Really?
and
Apartheid?
asked yourself, would you have been brave enough to walk the bridge? Would you have been able to take the hoses and the batons and the dogs? We don't have to wonder anymore because we are in our documentary moment. This is it. And it's not a rehearsal.
Our documentary moment, apartheid and civil rights, really? Really, guys? It's so self-important to me. Like, they just view themselves as like just the center of the universe. You can tell every time they open their mouths. And they view their role in the country as the political police of the nation. They're the ones who can define our value system, and we have to follow it to a T. And if we dare vote for a candidate that they don't pre-approve of, well, they're going to make a documentary about it. They're going to make a bunch of movies and TV shows and music decrying the culture that's not following their ethos in the elite circles of Hollywood and the music industry. Hunter Schafer, probably don't know her, but she's a very famous him. He is a very, see, this is how they confuse you. Hunter Schafer, is a very famous Gen Z transgender identifying man. And he just said this about Trump's passport rules, which have been updated to require your government issued passport or any ID to reflect biological reality. So here's what he had to say after finding out his passport says M for male now.
And I guess I'm just sort of scared of the way this stuff like slowly gets implemented, because things just sort of like start happening. I think as we've seen in like historical rises of fascism and this sort of, everything that this new administration kind of represents.
Right. This new administration represents fascism. That's the message. More Trump is Hitler, more fear-mongering. And this man was made a celebrity by Hollywood for a reason. He's not some incredible actor. I watched Euphoria. Not that great. His identity is a political message that they want to amplify in Hollywood. That is the purpose. That's why he is in the position he's in. He's not a talent. That's not it. And what makes Trump so special is that he understands what he's up against. It's not just Joy Reid, whose show, by the way, was just canceled. He's up against an entire vapid, entrenched, and poisoned cultural landscape that's beyond just the corporate media, but everything. All the movers and shakers in culture. And this is why he appointed Sylvester Stallone, Mel Gibson, and Jon Voight as his ambassadors to Hollywood. Now, it's still unclear exactly what the ambassadors to Hollywood are going to do, but whatever it is, this is very on brand for President Trump. The stories we tell shape our reality. Stories are real. They matter. They answer the questions of who we are. I think if Trump's ambassadors stand a chance, they need to be Christian. It needs to be an essential component of how we imbue meaning back into culture and Hollywood and music and everything. But what I know for sure is that Trump is taking this issue seriously, more seriously than any Republican alive has taken the culture. I think for decades, Republicans have not cared about sincerely addressing the culture. They didn't get it. They didn't think it was important. I don't know what it was. President Reagan was known as the great communicator, thanks to his acting experience and his stage presence. But President Trump took it to a new level. He's enabled a team of communicators that surpasses Reagan's efforts. You're going to see a lot of criticisms of Dan, just like you saw from Pete and from my dad, as well as the entire Trump admin. Questions about their past roles. How are they relevant to the current ones that they hold? Trump's not making picks like that. Not going to pick somebody because of how long they've been in the bureaucracy. That's frankly not the experience he wants. Not this time around. He's looking for competence, loyalty, and communication skills. Carolyn Leavitt, Tom Homan, my dad, Pete Hegseth, Dan Bongino, these are incredibly effective communicators, incredibly effective at advocating for the administration's agenda, dominating media coverage. As Jeremy Carl writes in The American Mind, Trump has created a new communications template for the GOP after decades of being famously inarticulate. The new look Republican Party is flooding the zone with breaking news and almost instantaneous responses to criticisms that the regime media cannot even begin to effectively counter. We have a message and a stride, and it is incredible to witness. And Dan Bongino is only going to enhance the transparency and communication efforts of this administration. This is incredibly positive news for the American people. He is a believer. He is a patriot. He's going to do the right thing, and he has experience in the federal government, by the way, important experience. This man has a career in law enforcement. And he also was going to be able to effectively reach the American people, and I think in a way that is unprecedented. On the flip side of this, progressives are an absolute train wreck currently. Governor of Wisconsin, Wisconsin's where I grew up, Governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, has proposed a budget that replaces the word mother with the term inseminated person, as well as paternity with parentage, wife and husband for spouse, parent in the place of father, and parent who gave birth to the child also in place of mother, as well as inseminated person. Who are they winning with this? Who are they winning with? They continue to clown themselves. Here is the number one most stupid member of Congress, and it's not AOC. We have on this, Dan Bongino has dubbed it AOC. On this show, Bongino Report Early Edition, it is Jasmine Crockett through and through. Here's what she had to say about Republican voters and their ability to learn the facts.
When you look at who's voting for who, the less educated folk, and when I say educated, I'm not even talking about formal education. I'm talking about people that literally don't want to read and enlighten themselves on facts. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that typically vote for the Republicans. And it's one of the reasons that we have to stop writing in theses as Democrats, right? Like, we want to give you every single little detail that we can find so that you can have all the information. But the reality is that the average person that is going out there and voting, they're not paying attention to that.
Okay. How many of you think that Jasmine Crockett has read a book anytime since graduating college? Did she even go to college? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't. This woman has I don't think ever picked up a book recreationally. And she's going to tell Republicans that they're the illiterate ones. I mean, are we joking right now? And again, also demeaning to the voters that she's trying to court. Oh, they just don't read books. They don't understand the facts.
We are not in the business of giving out money.
Oh yeah, remember she said that recently about the $5,000 refunds that President Trump may or may not give out to the American people for the waste, fraud, and abuse that they've uncovered? She said, oh, we're in the business of giving out money. Democrats are in the business of giving out money. What are you talking about, Jasmine? That's all you do. That's all they run on, is handing out free money. And this isn't even free money. This is a refund for the American people who have been defrauded out of our tax dollars. Ilhan Omar had a really similar take. Here she was this week.
These people are just idiots. I really, I'm at the point where it's become really hard to have an intellectual debate with any of these people, because the level of stupidity that they are displaying every single day is frankly embarrassing, not just in Congress, but as Americans. And the fact that these people are allowed to say just the most ridiculous things tells you that the dumbing of the United States has arrived, because how else do we get a Trump presidency again?
And she's no joke saying this, coming from the party that wants us to use the term parent who gave birth to the child, an inseminated person instead of mother. Really? And we're the stupid ones? Elitist, condescending, divorced from reality. They become caricatures of themselves. I think there's a lot of momentum behind us right now. Our message is great. The public is fed up with the left, and the zeitgeist is shifting. It's shifting. The art does need to catch up. It does. A moral and philosophical underpinning needs to be once again present. And these battles that we're going to engage in for those long-term goals, they're going to suck. It all sucks. But we aren't on earth to be happy. It's this obsession with happiness and distractions and cheap dopamine hits that makes us unhappy. It's like Dan said, when you recognize that you're not going to always be happy, and that's not the purpose of life on earth, that you really are able to enjoy the joys of life. And that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to like and follow this podcast. My X and Instagram is EvitaDuffy_1 if you want to follow me there. We have an office meeting, a team meeting coming up right now. And we have really big things coming, more announcements ahead. Dan will have a lot more to explain to you all today on his show at 11 a.m. And like I just said before, we're going to keep plugging away. This show is going to continue. Haley's show is going to announce. More things are coming. And I just hope that you guys stick with us. The content is going to continue to be excellent and high quality. We're going to keep things running until Dan comes back. And I hope that you'll stick with us until then. And know that this is only going to make us stronger, I think. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for bearing with me. I think, do we have a new record today? Close to a new record. Based off of the election, post-election, we had a big audience too. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope that was enlightening. I'll see you all tomorrow.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
We're back. Dan Bongino is back here with us, you guys. This is huge news, and he wanted to have something to say while we're still having live on this show.
One, it's my fault. So I did tell Evita, you know how I am about time. Me and you were like, if you're 5 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. So obviously we're dealing with a lot of logistics stuff since last night. But I just want to take this opportunity on Evita's show. I know she gave you kind of an update on what's happening. I'll give you a more complete rundown on my show. We had a long conversation last night, but I wanted to thank you for being a friend first, you and your family both, you and Michael. You guys are amazing. Nothing's going to stop, as she told you, with Evita's show. Everything is status quo there. Evita's her own separate show product. You guys know her. You love her. I'll explain more later. And just hang in there, Bongino Army. I hope you understand. I would have loved to tell you more earlier, but, I think you get it. There's a lot going on right now, and it's bigger than me. So thank you for everything you've done. Her show is a top new launch news podcast. I appreciate it. I was a little bit late, but I think you all understand. So thank you, Evita. Thank you, Michael. I walked in. She's like, we just missed it. She's like, I'm not good at like small talk and filibuster. I said, good. Either am I. So I really appreciate it, guys. I'll see you in a little bit on the Dan Bongino show. And thank you and your family and Michael. You're awesome. You're amazing. And nothing's going to change. So
well, thank you, Dan. And I told everybody on the show, we are all so grateful for the sacrifice that you are making for this country. It is such a, I know probably better than most what it's like on your family. And to have that time apart, but also to step away from this empire that you've built, and the team that we've created here. But it's not going to end. We're going to get stronger from this, I think. And that's what it is. I mean, Dan, you talk about all the time the suck and how things, the best things in life are hard. And that's what we have to do right now. We have to do it for this country. We're going to sacrifice here at the network. You guys are going to, with Dan not being part of your daily routine anymore, but he's going to come back. And I think we're going to be even better for it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Love you guys. See you in a little bit. Thanks, Evita. Thanks, Michael. See you guys.